stop wasting your hard-earned money on expensive gym memberships and complex workout equipment that usually ends up gathering dust. Most doctors, and I say this as one myself, are wildly underselling the single most powerful medicine on earth: walking. It's plain, ordinary, one foot in front of the other walking. But don't let its simplicity fool you. Today, I'm showing you exactly what happens to your muscles, your brain, and even your DNA at a cellular level when you move. We're counting down 6 life-changing transformations that happen when you walk every day, especially if you're over 65. Let's get started. Think of your body after a meal as a busy delivery hub. Every time you eat, your bloodstream is flooded with glucose, the sugar your body uses for fuel. But as we age, especially after 65, that fuel often has nowhere to go. It sits in your blood, thickening it, damaging your vessel walls, and driving up inflammation. This is because your cells start losing their sensitivity to insulin, the hormone that acts like a key to let that sugar inside. We call this insulin resistance, and it is the silent engine behind type 2 diabetes and rapid aging. But here is the biological secret. Walking is a master key. When you walk, your large leg muscles, the quads, hamstrings, and glutes, become a massive blood sugar vacuum. These muscles are the largest consumers of energy in your body. The moment you start moving, they demand fuel. They don't even wait for insulin to do all the work. The physical contraction of your muscles pulls that excess sugar directly out of your bloodstream and into the muscle cells to be burned as energy. I want you to visualize your bloodstream right now. Imagine millions of tiny sugar molecules bouncing around, causing friction and glycation, which is essentially the rusting of your internal pipes. Now, imagine yourself taking a step. Suddenly, those muscles open up like a powerful suction system. They grab those sugar molecules and clear the path. You are literally cleaning your blood with every stride. The most powerful way to use this vacuum is all in the timing. A landmark study from the Joslin Diabetes Center at Harvard revealed that taking a walk within 15 to 20 minutes of finishing a meal, especially dinner, can slash your post-meal blood sugar spikes by a staggering 22%. That is a massive number. In many cases, a simple 15-minute stroll provides the same glucose-lowering benefit as a mild pharmaceutical medication, but with 0 side effects and 0 cost. For my patients over 65, I always emphasize this. You aren't just walking for fitness. You are walking to prevent your arteries from becoming stiff and brittle. When sugar stays high in your blood, it attaches to proteins in a process called glycation, turning your flexible garden hose-like veins into brittle pipes made of glass. By walking right after you eat, you clear that sugar before it can do permanent structural damage. And here is a professional synergy tip most people miss. If you drink a small glass of water right before that post-meal walk, you help your kidneys and your circulation shuttle that glucose even more efficiently. You are effectively flushing the system while the muscle vacuum is running. It is the most scientifically sound habit you can adopt to protect your pancreas and your energy levels. You'll find that the afternoon slump or the evening fatigue you've been feeling often disappears when you start using your muscles to manage your sugar. You don't need a treadmill or a high-intensity boot camp to fix your metabolism. You just need to step outside after dinner and let your muscles do what they were designed to do. Move your body, and your body will take care of the rest. Now let's tackle the biggest myth in aging, the idea that walking wears out your joints. I hear it in my clinic every single day. Doctor, I don't walk because my knees hurt, or I have bone-on-bone arthritis, surely pounding the pavement will just grind them down faster. It sounds logical, right? If a machine part is rusty, you don't run it harder. But the human body is not a machine. It is a biological miracle that thrives on stress. Here is the scientific truth that most people get wrong. Walking doesn't grind your knees, it feeds them. To understand this, you have to look at the unique anatomy of your cartilage, that smooth white tissue that cushions your joints. Unlike your skin, your muscles, or your organs, cartilage has no direct blood supply. No arteries are pumping nutrients into it. So how does it stay alive? How does it repair itself? It works exactly like a sponge. Imagine a dry sponge sitting on a kitchen counter. If you just leave it there, it stays stiff and brittle. But if you put it in a bowl of water and start squeezing it, the sponge soaks up the liquid. Your joints work through a process called diffusion. Inside your joint capsule is a lubricating liquid called synovial fluid, which is packed with the oxygen and nutrients your cartilage needs to survive. When you take a step, the weight of your body compresses the cartilage, squeezing out metabolic waste. When you lift your foot, the pressure is released and the cartilage inhales, soaking up fresh, nutrient-rich synovial fluid. Without this constant squeeze and release motion, your cartilage literally starves. It becomes thin, dry, and brittle. By avoiding walking because of joint pain, you are actually accelerating the very decay you are afraid of. A landmark study from the University of California at San Francisco followed over 2,600 adults with knee osteoarthritis. They found that those who walked regularly had significantly less cartilage loss over a 4-year period compared to those who were sedentary. Walking didn't just maintain the joint, it chemically preserved it. But I know what you're thinking. It still hurts to walk. This is where the strategy comes in. If you have active joint discomfort, you need to change your environment, not your habit. My pro tip for anyone over 65 is to get off the concrete. Hard pavement provides zero give, sending a jarring shockwave straight into the bone. Instead, look for soft surfaces. Walk on well-manicured grass, a packed dirt trail, or a modern rubberized track at a local school. These surfaces act as external shock absorbers, allowing your joint to go through that sponge motion without the mechanical trauma of hard asphalt. Additionally, check your footwear. If you are walking in thin-soled shoes or sneakers that are more than 6 months old, you are asking your knees to do the work that your shoes should be doing. Invest in a pair with maximalist cushioning. And here is the synergy secret for joint health. Try to take your walk about 45 minutes after eating a meal rich in omega-3 fatty acids. Think walnuts, flax seeds, or a piece of salmon. Omega-3s are naturally anti-inflammatory. When you walk while these healthy fats are circulating at peak concentration in your blood, you are essentially bathing your joints in a natural anti-inflammatory lubricant. You aren't wearing out your body. You are breaking it in and keeping it lubricated. Stop viewing your joints as expiring parts and start viewing them as living tissue that is hungry for movement. Feed your knees, and they will carry you for decades to come. As we cross the age of 60, something happens inside our bodies that most doctors describe as inevitable, but I call it a challenge we can win. It's a process called immunosenescence. Essentially, your immune system, your internal army, starts to get a bit tired. It's slower to recognize invaders like viruses, and it's less aggressive at hunting down the rogue cells that can lead to cancer. But what if I told you that you have the power to wake that army up in just 30 minutes? Inside your body, you have a specialized elite force of white blood cells called natural killer cells, or NK cells. Their job is simple: patrol the body, find infected or cancerous cells, and eliminate them on the spot. When you are sedentary, these soldiers are basically sitting in the barracks. They are hanging out in your spleen and your bone marrow, waiting for a signal. The moment you start walking, you create that signal. The physical act of movement increases your heart rate and creates a gentle, shear stress in your vessels that acts like a bugle call. Within minutes of starting your walk, the circulation of these natural killer cells in your bloodstream can increase by up to 50%. You are literally shaking the army awake and sending them out on patrol. The data behind this is staggering. A massive study from Appalachian State University tracked adults who walked briskly for 30 to 45 minutes a day. The result? They had 43% fewer days of illness from upper respiratory infections compared to those who didn't walk. And when they did get sick, their symptoms were significantly milder and their recovery time was much faster. For a person over 65, a 43% reduction in illness isn't just a convenience, it's a lifesaver. However, if you want the elite level immune boost, you have to talk about timing. The absolute best time for this army patrol is in the morning sunlight, ideally before 10 green a.m. Why? Because your immune system is a fan of synergy. When you walk in the morning sun, your skin begins to synthesize vitamin D. Now, vitamin D isn't just a vitamin, it's a powerful hormone that acts as the general for your immune army. It tells your T cells and B cells exactly how to differentiate between a healthy cell and an invader. By walking in the morning, you are doing two things at once. You are calling the soldiers out of the barracks through movement, and you are giving them their marching orders through vitamin D. But a word of caution for my senior viewers. The goal here is a conversation pace. If you push yourself too hard, if you're gasping for air or feeling exhausted, your body produces cortisol, the stress hormone. High levels of cortisol actually tell your immune army to stand down. You want to walk at a pace where you feel your heart beating a bit faster and your breath getting deeper, but you can still talk comfortably. This is the sweet spot. You aren't just burning calories. You are activating a sophisticated defense network that keeps you safe from everything from the common cold to chronic inflammation. So, tomorrow morning, when you step outside, remember, you aren't just walking, you're leading a patrol. For years, the medical world believed that you were born with a set number of brain cells, and as you aged, they simply died off one by one until there was nothing left. We thought cognitive decline was a one-way street, but I am here to tell you that we were wrong. Science has discovered something truly shocking. Your brain has a build button, and walking is the finger that presses it. When you engage in a steady aerobic walk, your brain starts producing a miraculous protein called BDNF, or brain-derived neurotrophic factor. In my medical circles, we don't call it by its long name, we call it miracle grow for the brain. BDNF acts exactly like a high-potency fertilizer. It flows into your hippocampus, the specific region of your brain responsible for memory, learning, and emotional regulation. Now here's the part that will change how you look at your morning stroll. A landmark study from the University of Pittsburgh showed that in older adults, regular walking actually increased the size of the hippocampus by 2% in a single year. Visual, 3D render of the hippocampus glowing and expanding slightly. To put that into perspective, the hippocampus normally shrinks by 1% to 2% every year after the age of 60. Walking doesn't just slow down brain aging, it physically reverses the clock. It stimulates neurogenesis, the birth of brand new neurons. If you've been struggling with brain fog, that frustrating feeling where you walk into a room and forget why, or you struggle to find the right word in a conversation, understand that this isn't just getting old. It is often a sign that your brain highways are thinning. Walking repairs those highways. It strengthens the white matter, the communication cables that link different parts of your brain together. Visual, microscopic view of neurons reaching out and forming new, glowing connections. As you walk, your neurons begin to branch out and create richer, more complex connections. It's like upgrading your brain from an old dial-up connection to high-speed fiber optic internet. But if you want to maximize this fertilizer effect, here is my recommendation. Change your scenery. Research from the University of Michigan shows that walking in nature, near trees, water, or greenery, triggers a significantly higher release of BDNF than walking on a treadmill or a busy city street. The brain loves novelty and natural patterns. So if you want to stay sharp, if you want to keep your memories vivid, and if you want to keep your independence, don't just sit and do crosswords. Get outside and move your feet. You aren't just walking your dog, you are growing your brain. At the heart of the aging process lies a secret that most people have never heard of, but it is the reason why some 80-year-olds have the energy of a teenager while others feel exhausted just getting out of bed. I'm talking about your mitochondria. You might remember from school biology that mitochondria are the powerhouses of your cells. They take the food you eat and the oxygen you breathe and turn them into pure cellular energy. But here is the reality. After the age of 60, your mitochondria are dying. They become fewer in number, they leak toxic exhaust called reactive oxygen species, and they lose their efficiency. This is why you feel that deep cellular fatigue. It's not your age, it's your engines failing. Visual, a microscopic view of a cell zooming into a glowing, bean-shaped mitochondrion that looks dim, then suddenly brightens and starts multiplying. But here is the extraordinary news. Walking is the ultimate engine swap. When you walk, your body triggers a process called mitochondrial biogenesis. This is a fancy medical term for your cells creating brand new high-performance engines from scratch. However, there is a very specific strategy you must follow to trigger this reboot. You cannot just walk for 2 minutes to the mailbox and expect a miracle. To activate the protein called PGC1 alpha, the master switch for new mitochondria, you need at least 20 minutes of continuous rhythmic walking. Think of the first 15 minutes as warming up the oil. It's only after that 20-minute mark that your body realizes the demand for energy is sustained, and it begins the cellular renovation process. This is why a single long walk is infinitely more powerful than 5 short ones when it comes to your energy levels. Visual. Dr. Reed holding a small bowl of blueberries, showing them to the camera. And if you want to double the speed of this engine swap, you need to use the blueberry trick. Studies from Cornell University have shown that the antioxidants in dark berries, specifically blueberries and blackberries, directly activate the same mitochondrial pathways as exercise. Instead of walking on a completely empty stomach, eat a small handful of blueberries about 30 minutes before you head out. These compounds circulate in your blood, and when you start walking, they act as a catalyst, amplifying the signal to your cells to build new mitochondria. You don't need a fancy supplement or a fountain of youth. You need 20 minutes of movement and a handful of berries. You are literally building a younger version of yourself, one cell at a time. Now we come to the number one transformation, the big reveal that even most cardiologists don't emphasize enough. This is what I call arterial renovation. As we age, our arteries tend to become like old, rusty pipes. They get stiff, narrow, and brittle. This force feeds high blood pressure and puts an enormous strain on your heart. But walking triggers a biological miracle called nitric oxide. When you walk, the blood flow creates a gentle rubbing force against the inner lining of your arteries, known as the endothelium. This physical friction signals your cells to release nitric oxide. Think of this molecule as a natural WD-40 for your vascular system. It tells the tiny muscles in your artery walls to relax and dilate. The result? Your arteries become soft, flexible, and wide once again, allowing your blood pressure to drop naturally without the side effects of a pill. To see how powerful this is, look at the story of Harold, a 78-year-old patient of mine from Oregon. Harold had 2 stents in his heart and moved so slowly he had practically stopped leaving his house. He felt like his life was closing in on him. He started a guided program of just 20 minutes of walking every morning. 18 months later, Harold's resting blood pressure had dropped from 148/92 to a perfect 122/78. He didn't just change his numbers, he changed his life. He told me, "Doctor, I feel like I got 7 years of my life back." Harold wasn't a marathon runner. He was just a man who decided to renovate his arteries one step at a time. By walking, he was literally polishing the inside of his heart's plumbing. For anyone over the age of 65, this sheer stress from walking is the most potent stimulus for vascular health known to science. It's not just a walk, it's a life-saving renovation project. Every step is a signal to your heart that you aren't done yet. So, let me leave you with this final thought because I think you deserve to hear it said plainly. You are not too old. Whether you are 62, 72, or 82, your body is still a biological miracle capable of total renovation. The science is clear. Your brain can grow, your mitochondria can reboot, and your arteries can soften. The tragedy of aging isn't the passing of time. It's the world telling you that slowing down is the only option. I'm here to tell you that movement is the ultimate form of rebellion against decay. This isn't about fitting into old clothes or looking like a fitness model. It's about freedom. It's the freedom to live in your own home at 85, the freedom to travel, and the freedom to play with your grandchildren without catching your breath. Independence is not a gift of luck or genetics. It is an outcome of your daily decisions. The person who walks tomorrow morning is building the physical infrastructure for a vibrant future. This is available to you right now, for free, in the shoes you already own. If this information has empowered you, please join our mission. Subscribe to the Healthcare Compass and hit that notification bell. I am dedicated to bringing you the science-based longevity secrets that the healthcare industry often overlooks. I've also created a daily walking tracker to help you stay consistent and hit those mitochondrial reboot goals. You can download it for free via the link in the description below. And before you go, I want to ask you one thing. What is one place you love to walk or somewhere you'd like to walk again? Leave a comment below. I read every single one, and your story might be the inspiration someone else needs today. Navigate the system, or the system will navigate you. I'll see you in the next video.